Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is a very special NBA Week 1 recap from Sports and Shorts of Sorts programming, I guess. A little too much stuff to put in the regular episode, and I am a basketball junkie, so made a whole episode just around Week 1 of the NBA regular season. So let's jump right into it. This is for the basketball people out there who have the basketball Jones. Let's jump into it. We had a crazy welcome back, and let's start right in the East with Boston Celtics. Many wondered how this team would play, letting the heart and soul go on defense. Marcus Smart for, the unicorn Porzingis. And what does Porzingis do? He just shows up and sets the record for Boston Celtics debut at 30 points. So, yeah, they're just cruising right now. I picked the Pacers to have a great year. We'll get more to them, but this team just crushed them. The Celtics crushed them by 51 points, dropped a 50 burger on them. Jason Tatum scored 30 in that game. 8 Celtics hit double digits, and every player on the Celtics had at least 2 points. So this team they're the real deal. They're a title contender and like health for everybody. But if this team can keep Porzingis on the floor, I don't know. I see them doing real things, and they're one of the only two undefeated teams left at 4-0. Philadelphia 76ers in that division, they're a whole different team than what we started with. At the beginning of the year, James Harden wasn't playing anyway, but now he's officially gone, as well as PJ Tucker. The pair were moved to the LA Clippers for Robert Covington, Nicholas Batum, KJ Martin, Marcus Morris Sr., 4 draft picks, 2 firsts and 2 seconds, and a draft swap. Massive deal. James Harden gets exactly what he wants. He goes to the Clippers. That's where he's wanting to go. 4 Cali boys in the lineup with Paul George, Kawhi, James Harden now, and Russell Westbrook. So that's pretty cool. But again, health with everybody. This team even more so team load management for the past few seasons. But these are all those 4 guys I mentioned will be in the Hall of Fame. Granted, none of them have really been that successful in the playoffs, minus Kawhi Leonard. But let's go back to the 76ers here. We'll get more of the Clippers in a bit. The Sixers sit 2-1. Tyrese Maxey looks like a legit number 2 scorer, a legit number 1 scorer behind Embiid there. So getting Harden out of the way, I think, the old addition by subtraction deal, and Kelly Oubre, huge pickups. So the rest of that division is looking pretty exciting too. Dare I say Ben Simmons is back? Like he's looking pretty good. He's not putting up all-star numbers yet, but he's looking really good. That team is exciting to watch. I thought Mikal Bridges would be the guy leading every night, but it's by committee. Cam Thomas, whoa, starting 3 games off with 3 30-point games. Cam Thomas is so fun to watch. He has that little rope-a-dope move at the 3-point line. We all know he's doing it, but he still drains it right in your face. I love watching Cam Thomas. Not so much defensively, but offensively, the guy's a stud. The Knicks have been kind of up and down. They just split a home and home with Cleveland Cavaliers, but man, Julius Randle, he's dropped. His points per game is like the biggest drop off of the year. I mean, it's early and he's got to turn that around, but yeah, that is such a brutal drop off. And then you have the Raptors. They're currently sitting in the basement in the Atlantic, and it's early, but they've been inconsistent. You had Patrick Beverly come out and say who's the guy on this team. They're not dogs I'm scared of or whatever, and I don't know, they kind of showed it. They started off well beating the Timberwolves before going on a slump. Like, they had the game against the Bulls. They literally gave it away. And that was with DeMar missing 3 clutch free throws, which he never does. Despite all that, it went to OT and Alex Caruso would get the win for the Bulls with his big play. But then the Raptors, you're like, what's going on? 3 losses in a row. And then Wednesday night, they just fucking beat Milwaukee Bucks, a title contending team. They destroyed them, handcuffing Giannis and Lillard, and 3 Raptors going over 20 points. So it's a good way to end a streak, but a good way to confuse your fans as well. So hopefully they're trending upwards. We'll see. In the Southeast Division, you go and you have the Atlanta Hawks. They're sitting atop out there. At first few games of the season, I didn't know what to think. I picked the Hawks to be the best, and then they lose to the Hornets and Knicks, so it had me questioning it. But it looks like they've kind of turned it around right now, and they're looking like the real deal again. Jalen Johnson, oh, he's making everyone forget about John Collins when they got rid of him. He's the real deal. So really fun guy to watch. And yeah, former Duke Blue Devils putting up some pretty big highlights too if you look them up. Jonte Murray and Trey Young. really developing in the backcourt. So really something else. And then you have the Magic. They won the games they're supposed to do, beating the Blazers and the Rockets, but they lose to the Lakers and the Clippers, which that's something that I kind of expect out of them, but they will be getting better, I think. I do have them. We'll talk more of it later on the in game, the in season tournament. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But the rest of the Southeast Division, you could call the Ivision because there isn't a lot of D. The Hornets, Wizards, and Heat all have one win this season. At times, they've been exciting to watch. The Hornets and Wizards have been doing things, but the Heats have been really disappointing. Tyler Hero's getting his numbers up, but losing Vincent and Strus in the offseason, not getting in on the Damian Lillard trade, it's all stuff that's really really starting to hurt them. And Jimmy Butler's playing like emo Jimmy Butler out there, not doing a lot. Jordan Poole seems to be fitting in with the Wizards, jacking up all kinds of stuff, but yeah, he's not defending well. The whole team's not defending well. And then yeah, going to the Central Division, it's Milwaukee. Like I said, it's their division to win, but yeah, it could go either way. I want my Pacers to get back up in there, but they've kind of struggled a bit. And then the Bulls, like I had the Bulls not doing that well this year at all. And they've kind of surprised, they're still sitting in the basement of that division, but this division is a little more tightly contended than I expected. The Bucks and Pacers tied at the top, and I had the Pacers doing real big things this year. I even dared to say they'd be the Sacramento Kings of last year, and I still believe that. But the Pistons, they're the team that surprises me the most. I know they're super young, but they're in every game this year. And Jalen Duren is he's a man child at 19 years old. He's doing what he needs to do in there. Cavaliers have had injuries, so it's kind of hard to get their consistency. But geez, when Donovan Mitchell's playing and he's putting numbers up, I'll get more into the numbers later, but he's doing really big things there. And then I guess we'll go out west. That's where all the craziness has happened. Everyone's saying how good the West is, and it's legit. I'll start with the division of death, much like they say the group of death in footy. When the international groups meet up, there's a group of death. This is that group, this division, top to bottom. Like all these teams they should be playoff teams, and I think all of them could contend. But we'll roll through that here. Like the Golden State Warriors, they're sitting atop at 4-1. They're showing they're hungry for a title, being a year removed. Steph Curry's doing Steph Curry things. He's averaging over 30 a game. We wondered how Chris Paul would fit in onto this, and on Sunday, first time ever in 1,365 games, Chris Paul came off the bench. First time in his NBA career. It kind of coincided with Draymond Green returning from injury. And CP3's not scoring like he used to, but his assist to turnover ratio is perfect, right where it needs to be. And he's doing the things that Jordan Poole wasn't doing. And hopefully he won't get punched in the face by Draymond. It's early. We'll see what happens. But kudos to Jonathan Kuminga, too. People said he's got to step it up. He's stepping up a bit. And his numbers aren't really jumping out, but his game is looking better than it did last year, as well as Moses Moody. Two guys that were getting a lot of guff last year for being thrown to the wolves and whatnot, but those minutes they struggled are starting to pay off right now. And then the next two spots in that division, you got the Lakers and the Clippers, the two LA teams, and they had a great battle Wednesday night with the Clippers going down. First time the Lakers beat them in 11-game losing streak they ruined. So LeBron's been on a minute restriction, but not in that game. He went 35, 12 boards, 7 assists in 42 minutes, and they want to play him around 30. He snuck over a few times in some wins, which it'll be tough for Darvinham to, maintain that minute restriction dance. But Anthony Davis is doing what he needs to do. He's leading the team in points, rebounds, and blocks with 26, 13, and 12. He's supposed to be taking the reins from LeBron so he can age a little better. But LeBron, what he's doing at his age in the NBA, it's unheard of. It's amazing what he's doing, putting up those big numbers in that win against the Clippers. And going to the Clippers, they did just lose to the Lakers there. Kawhi dropped 38, Paul George 35, but Tucker and Harden did not suit up yet for that one. They haven't entered the lineup yet, and Terrence Mann has still been out all year. He's probably a little butthurt because he was getting promoted to the starting lineup, and now James Harden comes in and goes, So he's probably a little mad about that, but when he comes back, he's a great player for this Clippers team. And, they had a lost to the Jazz. They had no business losing, so this team should have an even better record. Like, they have 6 guys averaging double figures right now, and it's always going to be about injuries with the Clippers, but this team looks like a title contender. And you have the Phoenix Suns. They've been playing without Bradley Beal and Devin Booker pretty much the whole season. Book suited up in the first game when that win over the Warriors, but since then it's been Kevin Durant holding down the fort. He's been doing pretty good too. They lost to the Spurs the other night. That was a tough one for them. They were up all game before it was literally stolen from them. But once Booker and Beal are back, this is a title contending team. Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen looking like great acquisitions, showing James Jones why he has been an Executive of the Year award recipient in this league, making moves like that. So really, that Ayton move really solidified this bench too. But we got to go to the Kings. They're technically in the basement, tied with the Suns in this ludicrous division. And, I still think they're an outside shot. They could. I know they're young, and young teams don't usually win titles, but they went through some suffering last year after a great season. Maybe they could do it. De'Aaron Fox is like, follow me, y'all. He's got 30 points per game, over 30 points per game, and this team is growing. Sabonis is healthy. Keegan Murray, great rookie last year, looking to expand from that season. Just good. I'm always hyped watching the Kings. That's why I got a De'Aaron Fox jersey in the closet. I didn't know what to wear today, so we got a LeBron Heat one. So I don't know. I'm pumped. NBA. Up to the Southwest. Let's start another undefeated team. The only other undefeated team, the Dallas Mavericks. 4-0. Luka Doncic is leading the way for MVP candidates. 34 points per game, 10 boards, 9.8 assists. Almost getting into that Russell Westbrook, Oscar Robertson territory. Averaging a triple-double for a whole season. It's crazy Russ did it 4 times. Like, that's mind-boggling and probably not talked about enough. But anyway, the Mavs look legit. Luka and Kyrie working great together. People that are saying that would never work, looking a little foolish now. Tim Hardaway Jr., he wants that 6th Man of the Year award. He may get it. Derek Lively, I pumped him up in the NBA preview show, which you can find on YouTube and Spotify. But I pumped him up, and he's looking like the real deal. Tyson Chandler 2.0 with his alley oops. You throw a lob anywhere in that vicinity, it's getting thrown down. So really exciting team to watch, and they're scary. I have the Pelicans just behind them in the division. I went with a wild Zion Williams and potential MVP pick. He was my pick to win, the first American to win in a while, but his numbers aren't up there yet, but his dunks, oh man, when he goes to the hoop, it's like Sean Kemp. It's a beefier Sean Kemp. And it's like Amare Stoudemire, like just the veracity in which he goes to the rim. I love it. It does, you're kind of like, please don't get hurt each time, but when he comes out of it, oh, so exciting to watch. And you got Ingram and McCollum there. Valanciunas is still holding down the fort at center. Good team to watch, and they could be a contender if healthy. You throw contender a lot out in the West, but it's real. There's a lot out there. We'll go to my Spurs. Maybe not a contender yet, but man, I haven't been this excited to watch my Spurs in a long time. Like I mentioned that Suns lost to the Spurs where the Spurs stole it. They literally stole it. They were down big. Vassell, who had a huge fourth quarter, jacked up a tough 3. Wembanyama, easy putback. The Suns threw it into KD to just try to get him fouled to end the game, and Keldon Johnson ripped it away. Contested layup. Win the game. Huge. And that's what Keldon Johnson, he needs some love too. He's not going to get a lot of love playing next to Victor Wembanyama, but he's been improving every year. Love watching Keldon Johnson play. He's going to have a great year because not a lot of people are going to be talking about him. And Vassell signed a big contract, and everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? He's looking like he's worthy of it. Still, young team. Super young team. But I love this quote from Kenny the Jet Smith. He had on TNT on Tuesday. He said, the difference between a good player and a great player or an average player and a good player are decisions. Straight up. Simple quote, but very truthful. You see Wembanyama, when he catches it, patient, has a quick decision, but decisive, good decision, he'll be unstoppable. Once he gets there, you can see he's still a little rush coming from the French league to the NBA. But man, once he gets that down, look out, world. But yeah, don't sleep on Keldon Johnson either. I'm still hoping this team can slither its way into a play-in game. We'll go to the Rockets, one of the youngest cores in the league. They got Van Vliet and Brooks. Those vets are fitting nicely in. The wins aren't coming yet. But you go through those struggles as a young team, and that speaking of struggles, the Memphis Grizzlies, this isn't a young developing team. This was a playoff team who is missing John Morant, who's suspended for those first 25 games, and did lose Steven Adams for the entire season. But it picked up Marcus Smart to help solidify this defense, and they haven't been able to hold anybody under 108 yet. Desmond Bain is being a consistent scorer, and Jaren Jackson has been showing his flashes, but this team has to play better. You can't just. I know Morant's gone, but you got to step up there. You have. I did not expect the Grizzlies to be the last winless team in the league. That's brutal. Taylor Jenkins, you got to turn that around. But with finishing the Northwest, the defending champs looking pretty damn good, minus that surprising loss to Minnesota Wednesday night. But Jokic is picking right where he left off. You got Murray, Gordon, Porter Jr. They're all consistent, doing what they need to do to contend for a title. There's that contend word again. The only problem is just how stacked the West is, so it's not going to be an easy path. Murray's point per game, I don't think it's as high as it needs to be to make him an all-star, so he might be watching that game again. I thought he'd propel into that game because he has yet to be an all-star despite all his playoff shit he's done. It's wild to me, but he might miss out again this year. The West is just so stacked. But one of my favorite teams to watch this season, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they've looked really good. That team is making the next stop. They made the playing game yesterday and last year, and I see them making the playoffs this year. But like I said, the West is tough, and they showed maturity so far in some games, but they have showed immaturity. A loss to the Nuggets, the Pelicans ripped one away from them that they should have had. But Chet Holmgren, it's exciting to see him, another exciting young alien kind of player that is doing guard stuff at center size, but he missed all of last year with that foot injury, but he is looking like the real deal. He did have a little welcome to the NBA moment when Andre Drummond, of all people, crossed him up before taking it to the hoop, but yeah, OKC, they're the real deal. Timberwolves, I was going to say how disappointing they've been, but surprise win over the Nuggets on Wednesday. That was big. Anthony Edwards, this is his team. He's the captain now. So Karl Anthony Towns accept the highly paid Robin position, and let's just move forward with this team. This team looks very good at times. It's just that consistency. That'll be Chris Finch's battle all season to get this team to play up to what they're capable of. Because when they're clicking, they're really good defensively, and with Edwards going off, they could beat anybody. It's just maintaining that play. I guess that will come to coaching, and Finch isn't the guy. I bet he'll be gone at the end of the year. But Utah Jazz, they're developing young team too. Markkanen's averaging a double-double. John Collins is pretty close. But they just need more consistent second scoring. Jordan Clarkson, rough start to the season for him. I see him turning that around, but they'll get their wins, but they'll take mostly losses. Portland Trailblazers, number 3 overall pick, Scoot Henderson, the new face of the Dameless Blazers. They've had a few tough games, a little rocky start, but they won 2 straight, beating the Raptors and Pistons. Shaden Sharp of London, Ontario, he's leading the team in scoring, and the vets like Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Grant, they have these guys in every game. DeAndre dominating, hasn't been too dominating. He is leading the league in rebounds, but very fun team to watch, especially Shaden Sharp when he can jump out of the gym. And yeah, he's leading the team in scoring, and I love watching Shaden Sharp. That might be a jersey I might have to get. But a week into the season, like I said, 2 undefeated teams. We have the Celtics, we have the Mavericks, we have Luka leading the league in scoring at 33.8. 5 other players above the 30-point per game mark. You got Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, Joel Embiid, Stephen Curry, and Tyrese Maxey, as I mentioned earlier. 2 Sixers in the 30-plus point per game average. It's pretty cool. Then you have top rebounders, like I said, DeAndre Ayton at 14 a game with Sabonis. Jalen Duren of the Pistons, Anthony Davis, and Rudy Gobert at 13. I mentioned Duren, 19 going on 20, November 18th. He is an old school big, solid. He'll dunk on you and he'll rebound everything. Like I said, watch these Pistons. Tyrese Halliburton of the Pacers leading the league in assists at 12.3. Trae Young is the only other at double digits at 10. And let's start. I'll do a little Ren City top 5 here. We got the Mavericks at 1, Celtics at 2, Warriors at 3, Nuggets at 4, Lakers at 5. This obviously can change week to week, but can't really go against the Celtics or Mavs. They could have been interchangeable. This long marathon of an MVP race, I'd say Luka Doncic is ahead of that. Rookie of the Year race, I'd say Slenderman Victor Wembanyama. He dressed up as it for Halloween. I'd say he's still leading the way. And then you have the end season tournament starting Friday, first ever, right? November 3rd. Should be interesting if you watch the NBA preview episode I have, which is, as said, on YouTube and Spotify. I had the Orlando Magic taking that thing. I think a young team will take that one, but yeah, that's week 1 in the books. You can see why I didn't have this on the episode. It was a little bit long, but I told you I got the basketball Jones, and the only prescription it's more basketball. So yeah, if you think I'm out to lunch on some of this shit, or you're like, Rennie, your top 5 is whack, holla at your boy. Say, Rennie, your top 5 is whack. Let me know. I'm always up for good sports banter. And one last mention: rest in peace to Bobby Knight, one of the best coaches ever in the game of basketball. He had anger issues, don't get me wrong, throwing chairs, putting hands on players. He had to make amends for a lot of shit he did. But a great basketball mind that the world will miss. Lost at 83 years old, so rest in peace to him. But yeah, basketball, 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 basketball. Hope you enjoyed the show, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Ren City out.